Good morning. It is 6:53 a.m. on Friday? Yeah, July 30th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So I had a dream just before waking up this morning that it was one of my more typical dreams that I remember where I'm supposed to be trying to do something, but I just keep getting lost and it's mildly irritating and frustrating. Although the unusual thing in this case was that I was part of a crew that was supposed to rob a grocery store for nebulous reasons. And we weren't supposed to, it's not like during the day we were breaking into a closed grocery store through the dock end at the back, and I was following someone else's plan, but then we couldn't figure out how to get from that entrance to where the stuff we were supposed to steal was. And so it was just kind of wandering around like, you know, backstage grocery store locations. It was weird. Yeah, people love hearing about dreams. So last night I played the next day of the Shape of Shadows, which is a keepsake game from Dion Shim, I think is the name. I'm suddenly paranoid about that. Um, yeah, no, that's right. And this is a game that I kickstarted. It's a keepsake game in the sense that it's a solo tabletop RPG type of game that you primarily play by journaling based on various prompts. And we're only at like day 3 so far. It's a little bit like a previous game, Field Guide to Memory, but it seems like it's a little more directed, more involved. There's a little bit more um, like specific options to follow, like this is what's happening, and you choose one of these 4 things and write about how it made you feel or whatever, as opposed to Field Guide to Memory, which seemed to be a little like presented less options, but it was all a little bit more oblique in the beginning. But yeah, in any case, it's fun so far, and one of the exercises in particular kind of really struck me. It was intending to say like that you are a magician's assistant and you have discovered that there's real magic. And this is very early on spoiler stuff. You discover that the magician has turned into an owl and is now flying above you in a strange arcane pattern that kind of hypnotizes you. And then, as the exercise you're supposed to do is you draw a big circle across 2 pages of the journal you're using, and then try to draw an owl with your eyes closed or looking away from the paper, which is a neat a neat exercise. But I was just really struck with the one that I made. Now you can see it's got some of these sector lines and some additional words written around there. That's also part of the exercise. But uh, I just, I don't know, I was just really pleased with how mine came out. Like, not that it's a, classically good drawing, but at the same time, I feel like it just evokes a feeling in me. Um, and I was pleased with that. I also played a little bit of Subnautica on the PlayStation 5, trying it out there because I had previously played some of that on the PC using the VR headset. And could have done more of that, but I'd been a little bit frustrated with the graphical settings that my computer was able to do with the VR headset, and I had been intending to buy a new graphics card for a long time now, thinking to myself that I'll get back to that game once I've upgraded that and it'll look better. But that hasn't been able to happen for a while because it's so hard to buy graphics cards right now. But it's also, a little more effort and kind of hot when it's warm out to put on the VR headset. And so I've kind of not wanted to do that, but I've been still curious about Subnautica. So trying it also on the PlayStation where it's not in VR, using a different control setup, so is interesting. Because on the one hand, it's much like sort of more trivially easy to play. It also helps that like in this new playthrough, I do what I wish I had done in the VR version, which was to turn off survival mode, so you're not constantly having to hunt down fish to eat and cook and stuff like that. Just because that, you know, however realistic it might be in the main game, it's just kind of tedious ultimately. But the it loses a lot not being in VR, just in the sense of immersion. And also, I find that there's a lot less precision using the controller as opposed to something I'm holding in my hand, where, you know, if I'm trying to aim a gun, I'm just holding out my hand and going like, as opposed to having to use the joystick to do it. So it's a step back in those regards, but at the same time, it's so much easier to just sit on my couch and just play it instead of, you know, having to limit myself to shorter sessions, and because I'm standing and walking around a little bit, and that is more tiring obviously, and having to do a whole lot of setup, and it being hot enough in my apartment that I get sweaty in the VR headset. So I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.